Welcome to Teachers in Real Estate podcast with your host, Jackie Durbin. I have built a six-figure income from using what I learned from being a teacher. Teachers make great real estate agents, but guys, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Some people are cutthroat. Some clients will make you want to throw in the towel. But your years in education have built you for a career in real estate, and I am here to help you. With the right mindset and the right tribe, you can experience the same success. You can either supplement your income as a part-time agent or go full-time into real estate. The tools that I will share will help you gain the confidence and expertise to reach your goals. Whatever your goals are, let's enjoy this time together. This podcast is geared towards teachers who are looking to get their start in real estate and teachers who are already rocking the dual careers. If that is you, grab your notebook, your pencil, and buckle up. We are about to begin Teachers in Real Estate. Hey guys, how are you doing? I hope that your day has been as the best that it could be. I don't know what I was going to say there, but I don't think it was the best, but whatever, we're just going to go with that. So yes, I'm glad that I'm back here. I'm glad that we're going to be having this conversation. It's something that I think isn't talked about enough, today's topic, but it's something that definitely does not need to be ignored. So before I get into today's topic though, I want to give you just a little bit of a heads up. So trigger warning, just warning you, you may be triggered by this because it's something that I think as human beings, we all do. However, doing this in your new career in real estate will have a huge negative impact on your success, okay? So before I dive in and I tell you exactly what we're going to talk about, I want you all to do just a little bit of a reflection with me, okay? So I want you to think back, okay? And you may be listening to this and maybe you are new in education, right? And you have already figured out like, either one, this is not the career path for me, which do not let anyone make you feel bad about that decision. Okay. That's the first thing I want to do. I want to validate your feelings because going into education in the beginning, I think like when you're in college and you think back to like when you were in school and you think about your teachers and the people who impacted you to become the person that you are today, it's kind of like, I want to be a teacher because I want to do that same thing. I want to be that same person, right? For the students in the class. You know, you go through school and then you get your first class and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. This is not what I remember. This is not how it was. And yeah, because guess what? Things change, okay? And our world is changing very quickly. And what we don't need are what I call placeholders in education, right? We do not need people that are there because they thought it sounded like a good idea. The teachers that we need right now are teachers that are extremely passionate and have thick skin because it is hard. Oh my gosh. And I feel like it gets more and more difficult how to navigate the classroom, how to talk to our students, what topics they need to talk about, ways that we can kind of help them out. So anyhow, first of all, I appreciate you. You are a stand-up person and the world needs more of people like us that are willing to help our kids out, right? Whether we birth them or not, right? Our students become our kids. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to think back to your first day of teaching. Now, for some of us, that may be a while and we're in our medium age. I say medium, not middle, because I don't know where the middle is. So I'm medium aged. But let's think back to that very first day. Now, I can tell you my first classroom, the very first classroom that I ever taught in was at a Catholic school. It was called St. Rayfield. It was in Louisville, Kentucky, and I was teaching kindergarten. I had just found out that I was pregnant with my second daughter. I did not tell the principal at the interview, and thank God he didn't ask, but yeah, I was pregnant. And I remember going into the classroom and the first year, well, okay, let me just rewind. Okay, so I graduated in college with my master's in education in December. Okay, so I ended in December, and finding a job the beginning of January was probably going to be highly unlikely. But lo and behold, I was able to get a job that first week that I graduated. So that was amazing. But anyhow, the classroom that I was taking over, they had already had 2 teachers there. So this group of students had gone through 2 teachers prior to me. Now, let me say this. It was not because it was a bad school. It was not because the students were bad. It was not anything other than just there was turnover. Okay. Plain and simple. Actually, administration was really good too. So anyhow, that was the very first experience. And I remember that very first day, I thought to myself, well, I need to come in and I need to assess these students. And I need to know where everyone is academically. And I need to build out lesson plans and curriculum that's going to help them foster where they are and also get them to where they need to be. I had big goals. I had big goals. I remember taking like a running record. If you don't know what that is, let me explain it. Basically, gosh, I'm yawning a lot. I read a book about breath work, and supposedly when you yawn, you're connecting. So we're connecting together right now. So anyhow, back to this. Okay, so I was doing this running record. A running record is when like you're listening to the student read and you're looking at how many miscues they make, how many errors do they have, what are the errors because of, like, are they not paying attention to the letter sounds? Is it a word that looks like it? So, right, okay, so there's all these things. And I remember meeting with the principal because I was a brand new teacher, right? I was brand new hire and I was brand spanking new, like just out of college. And I remember going to him and showing him what I was doing. And when I think back to it now, I was doing all those actions for validation. And I think that's what a lot of us do in that first year of teaching. Heck, you may even do that in your 20th year of teaching, because a lot of us look for praise from our colleagues or from our administration, just to kind of say like, hey, you're doing a good job, right? It feels good when someone says, wow, I'm impressed by you, right? So here's my thing. Okay, so you're thinking back to that day. What were things that you did that were really good that worked? One of the things that I did was I feel like even as a brand new teacher, knowing nothing, right? All I knew was what I had learned from a book and then my observations in my student teaching. But what I really had a great handle on was understanding the importance of individualizing education on a classroom based on the population that I had, right? I need to meet my students where they are, not teach whatever is supposed to be taught, right? And be like, well, they'll just get to where I am. So I feel like that was one of the things that I did really good at. Now, one of the things that I did very poorly at, especially in my first couple of years, and I say couple because remember, I started in January, okay? So, I was guns a-blazing on assessment, right? I was ready to teach the kids. What I didn't do well was I didn't really set up routines, expectations, norms in the classroom, how to ask for help, what to do when you're done with work. The things that there I go again. See, look, I'm yawning. We're connecting, guys. And you may be yawning because I just yawned and I'm talking about yawning. So what I learned was it's so important to know what you need to do first, right? What is the important thing? And I remember I would watch other teachers and their kids would walk down the hallway in these straight, quiet lines and they knew exactly when to stop. And my kids literally looked like cats, just running and climbing and screaming and being loud. And I thought to myself, oh, well, why can't I have what they have, right? I was jealous. I was envious. And that's what we're going to talk about. In this episode, I really want to talk about comparison and how comparison and comparing yourself to other real estate agents is going to be detrimental to your real estate success, okay? So let's think about this, right? Let's say that I'm brand new in real estate, okay? Just got my license, okay? Now, the one thing I will say is when I first started teaching, there wasn't a lot of social media. There was a little bit, but it wasn't like teachers were getting on there and saying, wow, look at my kids' grades and check out my lesson plan and look at my classroom. Like there really wasn't a lot of that. Thank God, because that would have just killed me. As a pregnant girl, I would have been like climbing, trying to like do all these things, right? But in real estate, and especially right now, there's so many real estate agents that believe that they are influencers on social media. Now, I say that they believe they're influencers. Maybe they are influencing people. I don't know. But the thing of the matter is, we are, as human beings, tied to what people think about us. We can say, and I say it all the time, like, I don't care what people think about me. It's actually a lie. I do. I do care what people think about me, which is honestly a positive thing, right? If I didn't care what people thought about me, then I wouldn't care when I was a child if I made a mistake and I would have disappointed my parents, right? I would come to work being prepared because I want my boss, my administrator, my whomever to think that I'm a good employee, right? So wondering and being concerned with what people think about you, that's a normal thing. And honestly, I think it's a fairly healthy thing. When it becomes unhealthy is when you start comparing your day one to someone else's day 365. Okay? When you get started in real estate, there are so many shiny objects, so many, right? Are you going to do new construction? Are you looking at residential? Are you looking at commercial? Are you going to work with investors? Are you going to be in high-end luxury homes? Are you going to be with multifamily, right? Maybe you're going to be selling more of those like multifamily, like apartment, fourplexes, triplexes, those types of things, right? So there's so many different areas to get into in real estate, right? First of all, no different than going into education, right? When you get unless you're a specialized teacher, meaning like I only teach high school algebra, right? Us elementary school teachers, and I say us because that's what I was, I could have taught anywhere between kindergarten and fifth grade, right? I could have said, oh, I only want this grade. But the bottom line is I had a certification for 6 grades, okay? When you have your real estate license, you're licensed to sell pretty much anything, okay? Now, do you know how to do it all? No. Same way that on day one of teaching, you didn't really know what to do. I remember doing report cards for the first time. And then like we had to put their report cards on their permanent record, like on this like paper thing. And then one of my schools, actually a couple of my schools, they had digital report cards and digital grading. I had to learn all of these different things. That wasn't something that I learned in like my teaching program at my university. Okay. Guess what? Everything that you think you knew to pass your real estate exam, that's not going to be things that you use. Okay. So what I want you to keep in mind is as you're getting started in your real estate career, don't compare yourself. Okay. First of all, there's no one like you. Okay. You are an individual. You are uniquely made. And you're going to do amazing at this new career, whether you're doing it part-time or full-time. You're going to do it very well when you're listening to those people that are saying, hey, do this. And when you do it, do this way, right? So we're taking direction from people, just like when you're in that first year of education, right? You have that mentor teacher who's coming, they're watching lessons, they're giving you ideas, they're teaching you how to, whatever is specific for your district, right? They're teaching you. You're going to have that same mentor when you're going through real estate. If you've decided to, if you've partnered with me, obviously you have me all the time. So you can call me if we're not in the same state or if we're not, in the same area of the state, then obviously I'm going to also partner you up with someone locally, but you're still going to have me. So let me tell you some of the things that really made my success slow down in that first year. So one of the things that I immediately did was I created a real estate profile on all social media platforms. Okay, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, what else? Twitter. I had a LinkedIn profile. I did all of these profiles, right? And how do you figure out what to post? How do you know what to post? Well, you're looking at other people's stuff, right? So I would start looking at these different real estate agents who were either in my area or not to see what they were posting, okay? And what do most real estate agents post? Look, I got a new listing. Look, I'm out showing houses with my buyer. Look, I'm, doing this open house, or, oh, I just sold this house, or, oh, I wrote an offer, or all these things, right? So what does that make me feel if I'm not doing any of those things? Like a failure, right? I'm comparing their day 365 to my day one. Now, is it okay to look at other people's content to kind of judge what you need to put out there? Sure. But also keep in mind, you need to be you. Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about what my classroom looked like when I was teaching. So as a student, let me back up. As a student, I went to parochial schools. The majority of my teachers were very strict. There was a very high level of expectation in the classroom. And because I was ADHD as the day is long, I struggled. I struggled behaviorally. I struggled academically because my behavior was such a concern. And when I became a teacher, I was like, you know what? I don't want to be that teacher. I want to be the teacher that I wish I would have had. So any of my students who came in who were kind of like little wiggle worms like I was, they had 2 desks. Okay. Now, why would you give one student 2 desks? Because sometimes you just need to get up and move. And so if I had 2 desks for that student, then if for some reason they needed to get up and have some movement in the classroom, they were able to do that. Okay. The other thing that I would do in my class, and teachers would walk by, administrators would walk by, and a lot of people had strong opinions. Now, when I walked past their rooms, I noticed the differences, but I didn't compare because you know what? I was doing what my students needed. And that's what you're going to do as a real estate agent. You are going to find your ideal client. Okay. So the other thing that I did in my room was chairs were always optional. You don't want to sit down? That's totally fine. I hate to sit down. I want to get up and move. I want to pace. I want to think. Well, guess what? As long as you're not disturbing people around you, do it. You can totally sit. You don't have to sit down in a chair all day. It's boring. It's uncomfortable. It hurts your booty, right? As I started getting into my later years of teaching, I started moving away from wanting chairs and desk and those types of things. And I went to a more flexible seating classroom. And what I found was that when my students were comfortable, they learned more. When my students were comfortable and they felt like they could relax a little bit, they felt like they could be more vulnerable. That student that's always nervous about getting the wrong answer, they felt comfortable because now it wasn't necessarily just a classroom with 4 walls. It was home. The way that I decorated my room, okay, it was extremely colorful. I wanted lots of color in my room. I wanted it to be inviting. I wanted my classroom to look like a place that kids wanted to be. Every single kid, all 24 of them, they all had jobs. Whether it was something as simple as, you know what, just wipe down the boards or, change the calendar or sharpen the pencils, get all of the homework that's in the homework basket, sort it, make sure it's all faced the same way, paper clip the different sections for me and put it in my grading basket. The reason why I did that is because I wanted each of the students to know that they were valuable, that I needed them. So when you would walk past other classrooms and you would see that everyone was seated and they were all looking in one direction, some people might say, wow, they're doing a lot of learning. What people would see when they walked past my room was a family. kids that enjoyed being at school, kids who normally didn't really think that school was too cool. They didn't want to miss a day. And why? Because I was doing what my students needed. Now, I will say this. Every single group of my students were different. When I had a group of AP students, one of my last years that I taught 5th grade in Kentucky, and flexible seating was really hard for them. And so guess what? Okay, that's totally fine. We'll have more structured seating, and you get to pick where you want to sit. I'm not going to assign you where you want to sit. I'm going to let you pick where it's best for you to learn. My last 3 years that I taught here in Arizona, again, had a lot of gifted students. And what I found was they needed stability. So they really didn't like changing their seats every single day. They needed a little bit of, I don't want to say structure, but they needed a little bit of predictability, right? My point is, if I would have just compared and said, oh, I can't be different, I have to be the same as all of these other teachers, there would have been students that would have been not serviced the right way. They wouldn't have been taken care of. Maybe they wouldn't have learned as much. When you compare yourself to other people, you're not letting your authentic self come out. And trust me, there are clients, there are buyers and sellers right now that are looking for a real estate agent that's exactly you. You do not have to be someone else. You do not have to pretend. You do not have to fake it till you make it. That's the worst advice that anyone could ever give you. Do not fake anything. Be yourself. Do I get every single client? No. Every single listing appointment that I go on, do I land all the listings? No. And you know what? That's okay, because I know who my ideal client is. Do I work and accept all different homes? No, I really don't. I am not someone who typically goes after luxury homes. And the reason why is because, one, I've never lived in a luxury home. I have very little knowledge of different things to look at. It's not me, right? Does that mean I couldn't help someone buy a multi-million-dollar home? No, of course I could. Okay? Of course I could. Because I know that I am a lifelong learner, and that if one of my clients needed me to learn this to be able to teach them and help them through that process, I know I would do it. Why? Because I did the exact same thing in education, right? I had a student who had dysgraphia, which was not something that I was familiar with. And guess what? I learned everything that I could about that disability so that way I could help that student feel success and reach success. Okay. So I know as a real estate agent, I could do the same thing. But if I'm comparing myself and going, oh, wow, look, that real estate agent, wow, she's so put together. She has her heels on, her hair's done. She's looking just gorgeous. That's how I need to be. Well, that's not me, right? So if I am comparing myself, I'm already taking the joy out of this job. Okay. And this is a stressful job. So you have to make sure that you are taking into consideration that you're not like everybody else. You're not. And it's okay, because we would not want us all to be the same, right? That would be so boring. Okay. So as you are kickstarting your real estate career, or maybe you're not kickstarting it. Maybe you've been a real estate agent. Maybe you've never been a teacher. Maybe you're like, Jackie, I really wish you quit talking about teaching. Well, guess what? It's called Teachers in Real Estate, so that's not going to happen. However, no matter where you are in your real estate career, whether it's at the very beginning, you're just now thinking about getting licensed, or you've been licensed for a while, keep in mind that every single time you compare yourself to someone else, you're giving away a little piece of you. Okay. And the world needs more of authentic real estate agents than cookie cutters. We don't need any more cookie cutters. All right. They're so bad for you, right? So much sugar. All right, guys. So I just want to thank you all for listening. I hope that this podcast episode will touch someone on the heart and let them find that joy back in this real estate career. Again, it's a hard job. Okay. I'm not going to lie. Being a real estate agent is not always easy, right? but you're a teacher or you were a teacher, and that's not easy either. So keep it up, all right? I know you can do it. I believe in you. And guys, seriously, if you need help with anything, reach out to me. I would love to help you as you are gaining more experience or gaining more expertise or anything like that. Remember to check in on your people, all right? Make sure they know that you are always there. Also, if you would do me a solid and please rate and share this podcast so others can find it more easily. If you happen to be listening on your phone right now, take a screenshot of your phone, post it on your social media. You can tag me on Instagram at Jackie Durbin AZ. That's JACKIE DURBINAZ. Tag that in your story. I will make sure that I repost it. And then I'm also going to probably send you a message and ask you, hey, how many episodes have you listened to? What's content that you like? What's content that you'd like for me to talk about? Guys, if you have questions, state specific, something about getting licensed, gaining business, taking your business to the next level, always reach out to me. I would gladly help anybody get started or bring their business to their next level. All right, guys, as always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time on Teachers and Real Estate. Bye, guys.